If you can't trust yourself, who can you trust? But are you worthy of trust? I'm Jason Abraham, the shadow teacher, and I'm going to talk to you today about trusting yourself. And my criteria, or at least a few ideas that have come up in my awareness in regards to whether you are worthy of trust. You see, I find people of all types of consciousness, and some people who don't have enough faith in themselves, don't have enough trust in themselves, and absolutely need to learn how to trust and believe in themselves and trust what their instincts are telling them. And then there's others out there who are simply deluded with propaganda, deluded with projections of their own ego. And these people have absolute trust and faith in themselves and will project their beliefs, no matter how false those beliefs may be, will project those beliefs out to the world with full confidence. So, first of all, I think it goes to examining our beliefs. And much of our beliefs that we've taken on, much of them are not examined. Much of them we've simply taken on as true, whether they are true or not. And so I believe in the process of trusting oneself, one must put their own beliefs and their belief systems under a microscope and ask, is this true? And why do I believe that? Now, there are many situations, many concepts that we believe in that we're not going to get a concrete answer to those questions. But simply inquiring puts you down the road to finding an authentic truth and belief within yourself. And next, you could say, to make it the easier thing, if I believe something, can it be reproduced? Can I get consistent evidence of this belief where I can say this belief always comes to this consistent conclusion? And if you can find evidence from your five senses about that belief in this world, that's probably a safe belief. But it gets trickier, again, when we get to beliefs or we get to ideas and concepts where our perception, for us to understand in a deeper way, our perception must expand beyond the five senses. And when we go there, I think there's always a safety in saying that we have our own limits. And I would say someone who is honest about their own limitations of ability and perception in their current state that's a sign of trust. That's a sign of being trustworthy. Whereas someone who claims to know everything, to me, that's always a red flag. Whenever someone tells you they have the answers to everything under the sun, then I would always be very skeptical. So, the last thing I want to say, there's so much more I can go on about being worthy of our own trust, comes to our own action. Are we consistent in our behaviors? Are we consistent with our words and how we show up in the world. And one who is consistent with their words and actions, one who has full congruence, to me, is worthy of trust. And again, I find that congruence, the consistency, being good to one's word, that's a high value for me. And if I can't deliver on my promises, then I'm not worthy of trusting myself. If I'm not good, if I say something to someone else and I don't deliver, then there's an incongruence there. If I say something even to myself and I don't deliver, there's a problem there. So the congruence of words, actions, and follow through in how we show up. Again, I'm not a guy who claims to know all the answers, but I am someone who honestly examines his own beliefs. And the truth that I've come to and the path that I've gone on in trusting myself has actually not been an easy one. I didn't always trust myself, but honestly, I can say I trust myself today. And again, if you don't trust yourself, who can you trust? We live in a world where information is so readily available, and not all the information is worth our time and attention. We live in a world where always someone is pulling at us, attempting to persuade us, trying to grab our time, our attention, our consciousness. And just because someone speaks loudly and someone speaks confidently does not mean what they say is true, and it does not mean what they say is worth listening to. On the flip side, just because someone holds a prestigious title in front of their name, such as doctor, professor, does not mean everything they say is true, and it does not mean they are worth listening to. So we have to have our own standards of truth, and we have to also be able to feel the resonance of truth, being able to feel into what truth and the frequency of that, what that feels like, going beyond the five senses, working with the five senses and then going beyond. As light workers, there's no greater calling. We absolutely are called to trust ourselves and trust ourselves as lights in a darkened world. We are called to trust ourselves, but we can only do that once we've examined our beliefs and we are congruent and consistent in our words and actions. That being said, gave you a lot to think of. Be well, my friends. Trust yourself, but most of all, be worthy of that trust. Truly be it. We are not called to simply be slogans, to be faking it till we make it, to be delusional. We are called to be the truth, the light, and the way. Be well, my friends, and I will see you on the other side.